So we could make our own rocks, but really, rocks are kind of boring. I don't enjoy making 3D rocks. Some people do. I prefer just loading in good photo scanned rocks, which is what we're going to do right now. So again, our friend, Polyhaven, fantastic resource all around. They work by donations. I've donated a few times to these guys. If you ever use them quite a lot and you have spare cash, do consider donating to them because they are great. But we're going to go to models here, and they have some nice little rocks here that we're going to use. So there's a rock moss set. We're going to take that. Rock moss, we're going to keep it at 2K. Now this is actually where the higher texture maps might be a bit more useful because we're going to change the scale of these rocks, and they might be a little bit bigger than usual. So I'm going to go for 4K. 8K though is always still a bit ridiculous. We're not going to go that high. So I'm going to go download these. Okay, so that is downloaded here. Polyhaven comes with Blender files, which makes it even easier for us. Now to insert this, we're not going to use import this time. When we're importing a Blender file, we have to use append. So we're going to go append, and I'm going to locate that downloaded Blender file from Polyhaven, and I'm going to click append. Now we have to go find it, which is in the objects. All these rocks are here. I'm going to press A to select all of them and click append. Now we have these rocks in the scene, which is great. I'm going to keep these here in case I need them. I'm going to make a new collection, which is just, you can think of it as a folder in your hierarchy. So I'm going to press M, new collection, source, rocks. And whilst I'm doing all this now, I might actually just start making my collections and start being smart with my scene. So I'm going to select the ground and the water, and I'm going to press M, new collection. Maybe I'm going to call this scene. This is going to be my main scene. And I like to, this comes to your own preferences and however you want to do things. I've got double R there. How you want to do things, but this is how I usually sort out my scenes, where I'll have my scene, which is going to include everything that I'm rendering. Anything that I'm using is references, or I'm storing backups, or I'm making empty objects that I'm using to control textures. I put them in a utilities collection. I call it utilities. You can call it whatever you want, but it's one that I can turn off and make sure never renders, because what I'm doing here is I want to keep these here because I'm going to be modifying these rocks, but I want to keep the source rocks in the scene so that if I modify them all crazily too much, I've still got the source files protected so that I don't have to load them back into the project. I'm going to make a new collection, call this collection utilities, and these rocks are going into the rocks folder here. Just means I can turn it off and turn it on and they won't be affected. Now though, but I'm going to load them all into the scene and work with them in here. But in these ones, I'm going to make them in a scene collection. So I'm going to make a new collection, just call this one rocks. I'm going to make sure this is in my scene collection here. And I'm going to turn off this utility one. And this guy here, I should really call him something, I guess. Armature. Let's just call him man for mannequin. And I'll put him in the scene too. You'll see there by dragging that, he actually, his armature didn't come with him. So I'm going to right click here, select hierarchy, which is going to take them all and drag that into there. And maybe I'll just make this one camera. This is going to be, we're going to set up camera rigs later in here. So that's just a little bit of arranging. Now I have my rocks here that I'm going to place around the scene. So at this point, I'm just going to press Shift D to copy rocks and move them in this scene to kind of, because if we look at our reference, a lot of this is rocks. So really now it's just a case of being creative, just by moving and rotating things and just kind of trying to figure something out. So the process of this is kind of just where things start getting creative. All right, so these are just kind of randomly plopped around right now. Really, we're going to have to spend a bit of time here to make this more realistic. But for now, I'm just putting them in some locations so you can see what we're about to do.